adoption of omni-channel customer strategy to enhance customer engagement and create seamless experience. I would like to invite our moderator, Mr. Sundeep Kamat, Regional Vice President, Salesforce, on the dais.
Thank you, Emma. Everyone, I know we are the last session between you and lunch. So we are going to make sure that we're going to keep it one, crisp, second, on the dot, so that we don't keep you from your food. And three, as interactive and as interesting as possible, so that you're not really going to regret the session being your pre-lunch session, right? So to help me do this, I've got a eminent panel of our peers. Allow me to please introduce them on stage. I want to start off with Mr. Yashwant Kumar, Group President, Loyalty and Analytics for the Landmark Group. Yashwant, hi, if you could please join us. Big hand for Yashwant, please. I have Mr. Pranav Kumar, who is the Senior Director of AI and Analytics at Capgemini. Hi, Pranav. Mr. Suman Saurabh, Vice President of Technology Services at Genpact. Hi, Suman. Mr. Aadil Bandukwala, Senior Director of Marketing for HackerRank. And you also get me as bonus. Hello. Sound check, audience. Can you hear us in the last? Awesome. All right, so. Oh, I'm so sorry. I thought I called your name first. Sincere apologies. I have one more person to help me in this endeavor. Mr. Hemanth Purohit, the CEO of Parahit. And again, like I said, that's my comedy flavor to keep you all happy, right? A little laugh on the side. And Hemanth, honestly, I thought I called you first. So sincere apologies. Today's topic is something which is pretty interesting to all of us, I think. This is what keeps most of us up at night, especially professionals oriented around the whole customer engagement, customer experience piece, right? Which is omni-channel customer experience, right? What does omni-channel mean? We spoke about it when I welcomed you all in the morning. Before the pandemic, it used to be a fancy word that all of us used to throw in our meetings, right? Jargon. Omni-channel, multi-channel. It gained traction and actual meaning during the pandemic because one core way of interaction with our customers, which was physical interaction, was cut off. And we were forced to then look at alternative options around voice, around digital means, by which we could continue providing the same level of experience, because all of us work in a competitive marketplace. All of us have somebody or the other who is ready to nip at our heels. If we don't do the best possible version of ourselves, somebody else will, right? So it warranted every brand, every customer organization, customer-facing organization to start developing omni-channel strategies, which would allow us to not just look at interaction mediums like voice, but non-voice interaction mediums, which would offer the same experience, right? Now, post-pandemic, we are now back to physical interactions, but then we have consistency. The customer expects us to have the same level of interaction, the same experience, regardless of whether we're meeting him face-to-face, him or her face-to-face, or on the phone, or on WhatsApp, or any other channel of choice. Right? Now, what does this mean for a brand? What does this mean from a strategy standpoint? Do you have to control what channels you are on? Do you have to control or be on every channel available to talk to customers? How do you manage this whole strategy is what I think the next 30 odd minutes are going to be around. Okay. I have, in the title itself, a question which I want to open out to the entire panel to begin with, which is, how can you adopt omni-channel strategies for increasing your customer engagement, for providing that seamless experience across your brands? So I'd like to go around the room. Hemanth, if I could get this rolling off with you, please.
So, so first of all, whenever any brand or any organization is planning to reach out to the customer or for the customer to reach out to you, they have to imagine what is their entire strategy around it. For example, agri tech company does not necessarily need the entire range of channels to communicate with their customers. But at the same time, e-commerce fashion brand needs all the channels physically. A store is also required. A fashion brand also needs a store as well as all the channels where they are available to reach out to the customers, and at the same time they should be able to showcase their product through a chatbot or through if there is a refund, then there has to be a contact center or there has to be a fleet on street at the same time. So all these channels are there. So when you talk about what should you think, you should think about your business first, and then when you create a channel, then you think how it's like. I mean, whenever I think of omni-channel, I think of a tree. A trunk is going to be the one trunk, but then it can have multiple branches, and then it can have leaves, and then it is connected to the same trunk. So if the idea behind channels or addition of the channels or multi-channels or omni-channel is there, then you should know what is the core purpose of that business. And if you can sustain all the channels at the same time by not just activating all the channels but not doing anything about it, and give the same response as, I mean, we all know that what happens when a driver talks to you, or a contact center of that driver company talks to you, or a payment channel talks to you. I mean, see, I'm giving three examples of the channels. So payment is always a channel. I'm always saying this. The interface where you're taking a cab, it's also a channel. A driver who talks to you is also a channel for the customer. And the contact center guy who is solving your problem, which is probably not being solved by your chatbot, which is also a channel. So all these channels, if you can sustain the same amount of wow factor, then you add the channel and then definitely give the services to your customer. I will just like to add one more point here. I mean, I have been into this discussion of omni-channel many times, but I see that what happens is people lack the processes behind those channels. The stakeholders are also the thing. So if suppose we can bring out everyone from the stakeholders, write down what they want to achieve from the customer journey standpoint, and then create that channel, I think that's the best approach, because today we have to cater to under 25 customers. We have to cater to 25 to 35 customers, and of course we have to also cater to 50 plus range of customers also who are also active customers buying. My father is buying from Amazon, so he's 71. You have to have him in mind, because that kind of data is being populated in today's world, and we should create all those channels, keeping all the customer ranges in the mind. I think that's my take.
Yeah, thank you, Hemanth. If I could paraphrase what you just spoke, consistency, relevancy, and more importantly, ensuring process standardization across your channels is one of the things that should be key to your strategy. Thank you so much. I'll quickly pass on to the rest of the room to ask anything that you would want to add to this, Suman.
Yeah, so thank you. I mean, those are all the valid points. I'd like to make two quick pointers in that. So what you were mentioning around multi-channel and omni-channel, essentially there is a bit of a difference which as a business one needs to understand. That multi-channel is all about creating multiple channels. But once you talk in the omni-channel space, you are talking about the whole ecosystem. How the individual channels are seamlessly integrated to come out with the best customer experience, so as to say. So you can think of an Amazon or an Apple or those kind of brands, because even for small businesses, once they start, customers today expect that kind of a delivery. So one thing is a seamless integration across channels. The second one is, we just had this presentation on Gen AI and AI. So once you have all these channels ready and in place, you need to have this system of integrating technology. So that basically gives you more personalization, targeted customer delivery, and actually automate your whole channel strategy in itself to deliver the best customer experience.
Yeah, and thank you for bringing those examples up. I just had a couple of anecdotes on that, because both of these brands represent something truly benchmarking in the world of customer experience, right? When we look at Amazon, Amazon's tried to solve this by ensuring they control the amount of channels by which they interact with you, right? They have their website or their app, they have their delivery executives, and they have their channels of interaction for you for customer support. And if you look at their channel of interaction, they're not offering you a bot, they're not offering you chat, they're not offering you email, they're offering you a callback, right? And that's how they are able to standardize that experience for all their customers. Now, if we flip it to Apple, right? Apple tries to take it to the next level altogether by ensuring whichever channels they are available on, they are making it the gold standard across anybody else who offers that channel, right? So these are again different strategies, and since those names came up, thank you so much, Suman. I just wanted to call out some of the different ways in which different brands think about how to solve for this, just as points to ponder, food for thought for everyone in the audience. I'll quickly move on for pointers from you.
Thanks, Sundeep. I think you mentioned about how the shift happened in the COVID era. So how the focus on digital came into being. We also witnessed a switch from the 4 Ps of the marketing, product, price, place, and promotion, to the 4 Cs. So around how do we deliver the compelling experiences? How do we ensure that these compelling experiences are delivered across the multiple channel, the omni-channel world, it's connected. Then how do we ensure that what we are talking on one channel, and if the customer drops from this channel and moves to other, switch to other, they are able to deliver the consistent experience across all of these. So that's another thing which is important. And then of course, while you're delivering consistent experience, it's important that it is contextualized, personalized, and tailored to what one is looking for. It can't be a generic thing. The Gen Zs and the Gen Cs, the COVID people, right? So we have witnessed that the expectation is, it's something for me and not something generic.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Pranav. And what you just told me also gives me food for thought for a question later on in the panel to you, but thanks. Aadil, your pointers, please.
Sure, thanks, Sundeep. So while I was listening to Suman, Pranav, Hemanth, and yourself, I was just trying to ask myself, saying that, hey, what's really important today? And why are we doing this? I think 2 things. One, you want to render customer delight, keep them super happy. Also, make every experience frictionless. So for example, in this conference, as an example of this conference, we all speak at multiple conferences and interact. You know, one of the hardest challenges I experience, they'll take our photographs, and then later on, to find that photograph, you have to go through like maybe 10,000 images. So finding that is really hard. So I'll give you an example of one of those experiences I discovered which blended digital, social, native, AI, all into a seamless platform. So it's called something like Pre-Magic. So what happens is, if you integrate Pre-Magic into your tech stack, you come experience an event like this, all of us, and then tomorrow, when the photographs are uploaded, we go to this particular website, and instead of searching manually, it just scans our photograph and says, these are your pictures. So think about how they have blended digital, which means they're a digital platform, that's AI first, because of facial recognition. But 2, they've blended in social, because now you've seen your picture, you can on one click push it to LinkedIn, Twitter, wherever you want. At the same time, data flows back to Salesforce, which is my CRM of choice that we use at HackerRank, so that it gets tagged into said account saying that this person participated and this person accessed photograph even. So I think that's like a great example of 1, rendering customer delight, and 2, eliminating friction. So those are my thoughts.
Absolutely. and I did not ask him or incentivize him to use mine.
No, I've been using it in multiple companies for over a decade now. So yeah.
For those of you who don't use Salesforce, please note. Anyways, thank you so much, Aadil, and Yashwant, please.
Yeah, thanks, Sundeep. Yeah, firstly, I'm glad to be here, glad to be speaking to all of you. Let me address this question from the perspective of my retail experience and from a customer angle. So all of us are aware of that customers have evolved sharply over the last couple of years, particularly during the pandemic years. Most customers have transacted online, so the online piece, the Omni piece has actually increased. But then, there are a lot of nuances here at play here. There are certain cohorts or segments which are more likely to buy online. For youth, for instance. Now, even within these segments, there are certain categories. See, for instance, footwear is a popular category which sees a lot more traction online, right? Whereas there are categories like premium categories and luxury categories, even within those segments which are where offline is more prevalent and so on and so forth. So there's a lot of complexity regarding customer segments, regarding channels, regarding categories and so on and so forth here. But if you really look at the customer doesn't really know the word Omni. For him, the offline and online words have merged. If you were to ask a person on the street what is Omni, he wouldn't know. So what we need to do is that as marketers, as companies, we need to ensure that we provide a consistent, seamless experience. And to do that, there are two things what you need to do, in my view, in my perspective. One is that you need to create a uniform experience across both offline and online, and that's A. And B is that you need to carry the best of online to offline and the best of offline to online. That to me is the essence of how you deliver a great world-class, seamless online-offline experience to your customer. Let me give a few examples. See the cool product and content recommendations what you see on your websites or on your apps, or rather the live chat facility on your website or your apps is really a reflection to me of the expertise of salespersons which you get in the online. So here what you're doing is that you're taking the best of offline and transplanting that to online. Now in a reverse example, if you're able to do self-service through your app in a store, that's an example of how you're able to bring in the convenience of online to offline. So that's another example. So that's how you really build your example. Another example could be, for instance, let's say you're in a store and you get a app notification about a particular product, right? So, and the customer happens to be in a mall, and then he walks into the store. So you will have to ensure that the product which you advertised is available in the mall. So that's another example. Another example could be, for instance, the customer wants to inquire about a product or a service or complain about a product or a service. You need to provide a uniform contact center. You need to have the same number, you need to have the same channels, and you need to equip the agent with the same information, because the customer would have made multiple purchases both offline and online. Another examples of how you can bring in both the worlds together is your marketing communications. And you might have slightly different communications for your online customers and offline customers, but they need to be in sync. They have to broadly speak the same language and so on and so forth, right? So, for instance, on the customer's birthday, you need to speak to her about her birthday, not so much about her sale and so on and so forth. So likewise, when you're talking about customer lifecycle journey for the customer, you need to ensure that you cover both the offline and online aspects. See, for instance, even for your offline customers, because in future the customer might go to your competitor online. So you need to expose your offline customer to your online surfaces and get him engaged and so on and so forth. So to me, to kind of sum up, the trick is uniform experience across all your surfaces, A, and B is try and bring in the best of both worlds together. So this will lead to, in my view, higher customer satisfaction and higher loyalty in the long run. So that's really my take on the situation. Back to you, Sundeep.
Thank you so much, Yashwant. And since you have the mic, I would like to continue the conversation a little deeper. One, I completely understand the criticality of this, especially in the industry that you represent, which is retail, because it's not just about experience, it is also about each one of these channels being a point of sale for your customer.
Retail is retail.
Exactly, right? So, one, given the criticality, I'm sure there is also that level of thought process and importance given to this particular subject. And I think it is best represented because you are here representing Landmarks, or rather, you represent Landmarks loyalty and analytics program, right? So we spoke about different examples, right? You also spoke about identifying what's working best for you and then applying it elsewhere, whether it's working online, apply it offline, and vice versa, right? These are things, these are examples of how can you make your strategy effective, right? Can I ask you to possibly share with the audience a little bit more about what you do to ensure that your strategy is effective as much as possible in your day-to-day? So if I could.
Yeah, absolutely, Sundeep. So, to us, everything goes back to the customer. So we use a lot of data analytics to kind of analyze what our customers do. So for instance, here, since the topic is specifically Omni, the Omni experience, right? So not all customers are Omni customers. There are customers who buy only offline and online, right? So we lean on a lot of data analytics to figure out, how do we identify customers who will also enjoy your online experience and so on and so forth. So your app installation program, your call outs or your coupons to get your customers to purchase offline is directed at those customers who are more likely to buy. So that's one way in which we address the first question, which is the who question, who to target, right? So the next question is, again, data analytics helps us in addressing the second question, which is, when to target. When do we reach out to the customer? If a customer typically makes a purchase, every fortnight, we store that information and then we reach out to him once a fortnight and so on and so forth. And that's the cadence of our communication, the frequency of what we do is determined by, by the different segments, and these segments are built basis data analytics. So that's the second part. The last part, how do you really build engagement with them? Because, it's not just about offers. So engagement is about giving him communication which is relevant. So for us, we have, some of our brands have, 1 lakh SKUs. So that's a difficult problem. So what we do is that we use data analytics to figure out what are the right categories, what are the right adjacent categories which the customer might be interested. And therefore, many of our communications are not about offers. It's just about engagement, getting the customer invest in reading our communication, visiting our website, visiting our stores, and so on and so forth. So that's how we use. So we use data analytics to build recommendations, propensities, to get the engagement going. Even to the extent of figuring out which channel works for what. For customer A, WhatsApp might be relevant. For customer B, email might be relevant, and so on and so forth. And the last bit is about, finally we need the customer to also make a purchase, right? So we use, again, data for figuring out, offer optimizations to figure out, what kind of an offer works and so on and so forth. So broadly, as a general overarching answer to your question is that, I would say a combination of data analytics in conjunction with the tools and services, what we have, the MarTech stack, what we have, helps us achieve that.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Yashwant. And Pranav, you have a similar responsibility within your organization, right? If I could ask you to maybe share what is your point of view on everything we just spoke of.
So in addition to the whole MarTech stack responsibility, of course, exists, but then how do we make it work together is another important aspect.
Right.
Customers have invested in multiple MarTech technologies. There are almost, going by the MarTech report, 11,000 plus products are there. In an average enterprise, 25 plus products would be existing. Now, how do we make them talk to each other? How do we ensure all of these are connected well? And we are able to stitch it together and bring in only the relevant information and use it to carve out what the customer is looking for becomes important here. So how do we focus on that? We need to prioritize that. And of course, with CX becoming a battleground, personalization becoming a differentiator here, and personalization just alone won't suffice. You need to leverage the data, whatever you're collecting across this data ecosystem. That has to be very selective. You can't turn everything into a data swamp. You collect everything about the customer and bring it together. What you need to be is you need to have an approach clearly defined on how do we be selective about what data you want to bring in, how do you use it, because there are a lot of compliances which has come in, GDPR, CCPA, CCRA. Now, with those global and local regulations in perspective, we can't just go ahead and take any data and do the personalization. What we need to do is we need to bring in the right data and enable a responsible personalization in our world. So responsible personalization is the key word which I would focus on.
Got it. And since I have you speaking, what do you think the impact will be on seamlessness of the customer experience?
Sorry.
What would be the impact of personalization on seamless customer experience?
Definitely. So one is the seamless part of it, other is the real-time part of it. Both have become more relevant in today's world, all the more. The expectation is how do we have the relevance, which of course leads to stickiness, consumer engagement part of it. But then if you don't do it and deliver it within a matter of seconds, milliseconds kind of thing, then it becomes complex. They might be that the customer is switched off, there's a messy middle, the customer might bounce from one channel to other, and then the journey breaks. But then you don't want to do that. So how do we manage that within a second, millisecond kind of time frame? Bring in that customer delight, that becomes important. That would lead to the right customer experience and the engagement strategies.
Got it. The importance of time, I think.
Yeah.
That point in time. Yeah. I think that's a brilliant insight. Thank you so much, Pranav. I also want to take this opportunity before I move on to the next question to say something important which I omitted. We have a great panel here and each one of these members have a very distinct responsibility within their own organization. I just wanted to share with all of you that we are here as a forum of industry peers, right? So none of us here is speaking or representing their brand's point of view, but their individual experiences and expressions as professionals in this market, right? So my apologies, I was saying that out earlier, but thank you. I'll move on now to Aadil. Aadil, if you could possibly speak to some of the trends that we are seeing in customer strategy and of course with the lens of an omni-channel experience. What are you seeing in terms of trends that you could share with the audience?
Thanks, Sundeep. So I think like Suman said, right, personalization I think is the name of the game. So one is personalization and modern AI. So for example, simple question to ask yourselves is, you might be running different customer cohorts, you might be running different customer campaigns. Are you using stuff like Mid-Journey to create images on the fly and experiences on the fly and just get this done through Gen AI rather than having a designer that will take 3 days to build an image where it can be actually done in 3 minutes. So one is you can reduce your time and two, you can scale unimaginably faster. Because it's on Discord, and if you haven't checked out Mid-Journey yet, you can build custom APIs that can pull that data into your native app, and you don't have to actually enter Discord either. So it can be integrated with modern marketing tools. Second is, a lot of people often tell me, but hey, but you know what, Mid-Journey has limitations. You know, it does not incorporate my brand language or my logo. Well, there's another one for that called ControlNet. Have you thought about, you know, fusing ControlNet and Mid-Journey together? Do your V1 on Mid-Journey, import that thing in ControlNet, and ControlNet gives you the ability to customize it per your brand and logo. Third thing is, even your content timelines, right? Is your team using stuff like GPT-4? $20 a month, yaar, just use it, right? It just makes you so much more faster. And instead of one single campaign that will bore your customer base, now you can have like 20 iterations for 20 different journeys. So one is like AI and personalization. The second one I'm saying, do you really have a modern tech stack? Like, if you don't have a modern tech stack, you're going to be miles behind. Like, for example, is your CRM Salesforce? At the same time, for your customer success and customer experiences, are you using Gainsight or Churn Zero? Parallelly, if you're hunting for prospects, do you have SalesLoft? Parallelly, at the same time, you want to do marketing at scale, are you using Adobe Marketo? At the same time, if you want to integrate social on top of this, do you have Sprout Social? And then, as if all of this was not enough, are you using Steve.ai for your video capabilities or InVideo.io to really leapfrog around video? So for example, you know, you can go and tell InVideo.io, help me create a video where India landed on Mars through Chandrayaan, create stock images and footage on this fly and get this video out to you in 2 minutes. The whole video is done on the fly. You don't need an AI, you don't need a video designer. So I think things are changing. At the same time, if you look at Blaze.ai, you can just go to Blaze and tell it, saying that, hey, I need to redesign my website based on these 5 insights. For the same thing, I need ad copy in these formats for these channels. At the same time, I need to build a nurture campaign for these particular email audiences. It does everything for you. And it's probably have it done in less than 3 to 4 minutes. So I think first one is AI and personalized journeys. Second thing is, do you have a modern tech stack? And lastly, I think, how are you measuring customer health and getting a unified customer experience? So for example, you can have account health at, let's say, if I am trying to sell to an NVIDIA, I have met a person in NVIDIA, but that a person does not contribute to a B2B sale. Based on my historical data, it tells me that I have to meet at least 9 different stakeholders. Have you met those 9 stakeholders, and what are the odds that you will win this account or you will lose this account? By using intent data that potentially comes from G2 or an account-based marketing tool like 6sense. So I think it's really about personalization, AI tech stack, and contextual information about your customers. Those are 3 trends that I think will help you leap forward.
Thank you so much, Aadil. Since we are talking about trends, I just wanted to open this out to the panel. If any of you would have anything else to share to the audience. Thank you, Hemanth.
Thanks, Method. This Gen AI and AI has, become the next trend. Everybody is trying to figure out how their internal data can be used for, responding the customer in a way that there is no set template, there is no set SOP. It is just the contextual delivery of the services or the responses. So I think that is picking up across the market. First, it goes to the premium market, let's say top 100 customers, and then it is also going down to the startups and every new business which is coming to the place. So bots are taking place. Bots are taking place when everybody has started thinking about it. If I would say that are 10,000 customers thinking about bots implementation in their company, or some kind of automated response system using Gen AI or using OpenAI, how the LLM is actually being useful in the day-to-day interactions with the customer. If the interaction base is like 1 lakh plus, let's say, every day, then how to reduce it through the transactional, automation. So I think that is picking up. The other thing is the agent automation is also picking up. How agent can be, less informative, but the tools are so much informative that they are only using the tool and responding to the customer in their own language. So I think all these online channels, or all these, this era, post-pandemic, because we started talking about post-pandemic, I think we are basing out of the global information system being presented to you for your crisp response is picking up very fast. And within 1 or 2 years, I think most of the machines are going to talk in a very human way to humans. This is what is picking up, according to me.
Thank you so much, Hemanth. I think advancement of artificial intelligence from traditional NLP to generative to whatever is coming up is also a very key trend. Thank you for sharing that. Pranav, would you like to add?
Yes. So one important aspect which we see in today's era is the democratization bit. So how the technology which is there, but then how do we make it reach to the masses? How do we ensure that everybody within the team is able to make use of these technologies? Gen AI definitely acts as an accelerator there.
Right.
All the tools which Aadil mentioned, so makes the life easier. Now imagine crafting all your images with mid-journey, using stability, and then combining it with some kind of a engine which could give you some kind of a personas, define the kind of experiences which you want, map those personas, deliver that on fly. So that's the kind of a era we are embarking on, where everything would be on the fly, kind of.
Yes.
But again, democratization is the key. And how
Correct.
do you go about choosing the stack, the composability of the layers which needs to come in? So that also would play a fair role in that.
Absolutely. If I could paraphrase this, I would essentially say, how are we ensuring this stack of technology is going to be helpful for everybody across the enterprise, so that they can ensure that they are giving that experience at their levels to your customers. Right. Perfect. I think these are wonderful trends we spoke of. Suman, I just wanted to take up, I don't think that mic's working by the way. Okay, awesome. Okay, when Aadil was speaking about the trends, he spoke about a very, very key word, which is, okay, how do we identify that our customers are getting the experience we want them to get, right? Which is where measurement comes into the picture, which is, I would say, the last mile feedback loop, right? So if we have to speak about feedback and its impact in the entire goal setting exercise in light of, in context of how do we do continuous course correction, what would your thoughts be around how can we use feedback and engagement to basically drive customer experience strategies?
Sure. So we need to understand, and all of us are talking about customer experience. There's an old adage, customer is the king, right? So customer, even if you talk about AI and technologies like that, we talk about HITL, human in the loop, right? Customer is a key stakeholder. Whatever we are doing, making all these strategies, it is for the customer, right? So once, even if you have all the data, if you have all the analytics in place, then also that would give you a quantitative picture. Unless and until you involve the customer's feedback in the whole cycle, it's not gonna fructify. So actually, for any company, for any firm to integrate this whole customer feedback loop would essentially entail in understanding the whole customer journey, identifying the customer touch points, right? Leveraging all these data tech AI thing, and all the different gamuts of the touch points we have with the customer. So once you include the customer in the loop, once you have that feedback, you actually gain the trust of the customers. Be it a B2C or B2B, in our case, mostly it's a B2B customer space. So essentially, you gain that trust and you increase the customer lifetime value. You increase the customer stickiness. And plus, you can take it as an A/B testing kind of a thing as well, right? So maybe you reiterate and then refine your strategies around delivering more to the customer. So all of this essentially boils down to having the right set of feedback from the customer from different touch points, having an integrated system. The point is not to annoy the customers after a point, right? So you need to make their life easy. You need to have an integrated system, whether it is an offline store or social media or your app or website. You need to have a system which kind of takes that data in place, analyzes it, and actually curate your whole experience of customer in the right fashion. So that's my point.
Thank you so much, Suman.
So I would like to add, see, in the entire journey, what is most important? I think when the music ends, it should be the loyalty of a customer. Because one-time sale cannot make you a brand. If it is Apple, let's say, because everybody talks about Apple, because it's a brand which has ensured that no matter how heavy the price is, you come back and buy the next piece. That loyalty, the music end is the loyalty. For that you do omni-channel, for that you do genre mapping, for that you look at the customer feedbacks and analytics. I'm saying that if all of the stakeholders know the core of their business should be that we need to give loyalty back to the customer. See, every time you fail somewhere, how we take the feedback and how we go back to the customer and agree or accept that we did a mistake, we're going to rectify it this time, and then we come back to you with some loyalty points if we do it correct. So how much the recommendation engine, I mean, as a business, I mean, I don't want to talk about it, but for more than 14 years in 17 years, it's only the reference-based business. We never went out for attending an event, getting a new customer acquisition model. We only did reference-based business, and we sustained ourselves with new technology, with new innovation, with everything, because our customer or our customers up to now, either are family members, we are into a B2B space, or friends who will stand anywhere and say that, if you are giving your business to this company, we are guaranteeing you that your service is assured. So this kind of attitude has been there in Western markets or US for B2C customers as well as B2B customers. If something goes wrong, the entire company comes to you and say that we did something wrong and we are fixing it up for you, and next time it will never happen again. This attitude has to be brought down to all the businesses of India, that we have to ensure that loyalty happens, feedback happens, and then based on these two core points, we create the journey. I mean, I think we should reverse engineering. This is very, very critical point according to me.
Yeah, I see, paraphrasing what Suman mentioned, which is identifying where do you need to take feedback and ensuring that it is covering all the touch points that you are concerned about, and then using that to refine your strategies. And like you very aptly put, Hemanth, the music ends at loyalty, right? Which means loyalty is the end game for all of us, right? Whether we are in B2B or B2C, the ability for a customer to keep continuing to give us their business, the ability for us to earn their business on a regular frequency is what all of us should be working towards. So I think brilliant points from everyone. We spoke about all the things we can do, right? We also need to think about what we should avoid doing, right? There are fundamental challenges which can also creep in. There have to be things that we need to keep an eye out for. So since you have the mic, Hemanth, I would request you to share what is your point of view on challenges when you're coming to the strategy.
So you have given me this point to start with, who is always critical about everything. So yeah. Challenges are challenges. One of the challenges which I see is that now that I am a 17-year-old business, I see that your company has to be reinvented every 6 months, every year. And if your own people in the company do not want to, refresh themselves by saying that I have become young again and I'm going to match up with the happenings or the future for that matter, then it becomes the first challenge. Then everybody has their set of acquisition of knowledge of creating a process or creating a strategy, and when 5 different stakeholders are working together, and then each one of them comes with their own biases, becomes a very, very big challenge. Then training those people to have that high NPS score, or how to have that loyalty coming back to us every time, telling them that the customer comes first, and your engine or your technology or your tool does not come first. This becomes again a very big challenge. Now, I keep repeating that, give attention to the details. When you do attention to the details, then you will redefine your processes every now and then. So process creation is also a challenge. I meet customers, I know that they want to achieve a wow factor, but when it comes down to having a cup of coffee or maybe getting a 2-day off from the business and redefine their process or mapping the process, it's a challenge. They want a quick fix to everything. Everybody wants to quick fix everything, but they do not want to detail their process and break it into pieces. So that is the second challenge which I think. The third is which tool to choose. Maybe at your stage, you do not need that tool. Maybe at an enterprise level, you need a small tool. For example, one of the demos which I have done to a large enterprise handling 35 crore as their customer base, they spend 12 hours to upload a campaign. I mean, now which tool are you looking for? Maybe a traditional tool, maybe a very popular tool, but 12 hours uploading a campaign and then redefining it within 2 hours based on the response system, you cannot do it. I mean, then you will take 12 hours or 24 hours to do the campaign. So which tool do you use? Are you also going to break the shackle and say, no, these tools are traditional, or maybe they are very good popular tools, but we have to figure out that every 2 hours we should be able to change the campaign. So I'm saying that tools are important, processes are important, people are important. These important points are all challenges. If suppose we all have the same intent, that customer experience 99.99% of the times, other than the force majeure or maybe a human error or any error, then all of the things will be settled, which is a very big challenge. I will get emancipated if I've gotten over from that. Yeah.
And I think very, very well put again, Hemanth. If you're saying that the enablers of an omni-channel strategy are going to be your people, process, and systems, then the main challenges that are going to creep in are also across people, process, and systems. Right? So ensuring that what we have designed operates well and operates the way we had expected it to run is very important. And on that note, I just want to say thank you so much, Hemanth, Suman, Aadil, Pranav, and Yashwant, for sharing your thoughts this last 40 odd minutes with the audience. I think there are some brilliant takeaways for everyone in the room. And of course, if you would like to continue the conversation with any of the panelists, I'm sure we'll be able to network with each other during lunch. And on that note, everyone. Of course, I don't know if we have time because I see one big red banner here saying no. But having said that, if you have any questions, please feel free to engage with any one of us during lunch. So that's it. Thank you so much, everyone, and thank you, panelists, for sharing your views.
Sundeep as well. He's a great moderator.
I would like to thank our moderator and the panelists for such a wonderful session. Can we please give them a huge round of applause? I request Mr. Sundeep Kamat, Regional Vice President Salesforce, to honor Mr. Pranav Kumar, Senior Director AI and Analytics, Capgemini. Mr. Suman Saurabh, Vice President of Technology Services, Genpact. Mr. Aadil Bandukwala, Senior Director of Marketing, HackerRank. And last but not the least, Mr. Yashwant Kumar, Group President, Customer Loyalty and Analytics, Landmark Group.